Back here, first things first, Undisputed coming up at 9:30 sharp. Jenny, good morning to you. Excellent choice in color this morning, might I just add. What are you guys talking about today?
I'm loving the red as well, Jenna. Guys, you
As
look
am
nice,
I.
but sorry, Jenna steals the show today, I have to say. Coming up on Undisputed, did Lamar Jackson lock up the MVP last night? And is Jerry Jones officially putting Jason Garrett on the hot seat? Plus, joining us in studio, Reggie Bush, and we have the one and only Keegan-Michael Key today. I am so looking forward to meeting him as well. Undisputed coming up next. Jenna, back to you and the guys.
All right, Jenny, thanks. Have a great show. Time for us to go viral. Joel Embiid had a night to forget up in Toronto, went 0 for 11, scored 0 points. And Raptors super fan and Nick's favorite rapper,
Don't say that.
Drake,
Don't
was
lie.
right there to let Embiid hear about it.
Nick. You gotta give him that. He can't flow?
No, yeah, listen, he's talented. Doesn't change the fact he's a sucker, but yeah, he's talented. Listen, and by the way, now that we know Lil Wayne watches the show and Lil Wayne and I have a burgeoning friendship, can't be out here saying Drake's my favorite rapper, man.
You're right, it was Lil Wayne.
Well, Lil Wayne, at this point, I consider a close personal friend.
Yes.
Shout out to Weezy, who I'm certain's watching right now.
Is Lil Wayne.
Thank you, Jenna. That is correct. Drake is Raptor super fan. Among other, I mean, when he's not Duke super fan and when he's not Lakers super
See,
fan.
that's where...
And when he's not Kentucky super fan.
And therein lies his problem.
And when he's
with
not
Drake.
Alabama super fan.
Yeah.
And when he's not, you know, I know he's from Toronto, and people don't know why Drake's from Toronto. Yeah, Drake was the kid in Degrassi. Drake grew up in a really nice area of Toronto, was a child star, and now he's rapper
He's
Drake.
trying to undermine.
I'm not
hip-hop
undermining anything.
credentials.
Hey, he undermined his own hip-hop credentials when he was singing about how sad he is that the strippers don't actually love him in Marvin's room. But hey, I'm not here to throw any shade at Drake. I'm just here to let America know who Raptor superfan Drake is. That's all.
I'm with you, Drake. I got your back.
There you go. Well, Broussard probably plays with Drake in dominoes tournaments. Broussard's actually out in these streets with these folks. I don't actually run up on Drake so I can give my honest opinion. Broussard's got these relationships, 30 years media credibility. I ain't got all that.
And scene.
There you go.
Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in L.A. taking on the Rams. Another installment of Action Jackson as he continues his MVP push through the season. He finished 15 of 20 last night for 169 yards. He had 5 touchdowns, and if that wasn't enough, he added 95 more yards on the ground as the Ravens just mollywopped the Rams 45-6. That is their 7th straight win. Here's Lamar Jackson after his career night.
I'm trying to win the Super Bowl, and we taking the game at a time. I'm not worried about MVP, you know. If it come, it come. I'll be satisfied, but I'm trying to win the Super Bowl. That's a team award, and that's what I want.
Nick, are you surprised that Lamar Jackson is this good in his second year?
I'm shocked, and I believed in him. I didn't think he should change positions. I thought a lot of the narrative surrounding him was unfair and a little coded language, if I'm being totally honest, about whether or not he was going to be able to be the face of a franchise or process the information or if he should change position. We've heard that with quarterbacks before, and we know what it means. But I didn't think he would ever be a league MVP. If I did, I would have been saying he should go number 1. You know what I mean? Like, if I thought that he was that level of player, then no, even if you love Baker, then he should be the 2nd pick of the draft. And I wasn't arguing that. I thought he was clearly a first-round pick. I thought he was clearly better than Josh Allen. I thought you could make an argument for him over Sam Darnold. Now, I really liked Rosen. I look like a dope on that one. But no, I thought the knock on Lamar was not going to be durability, like I know a lot of people still have the concern. I thought the knock on Lamar was raw, and that if you needed him to play immediately, you were going to struggle. And usually if you're drafting the very top of the draft, you need him to play immediately. I loved him going to Baltimore because I didn't think he was going to play his first year. He was going to be able to kind of take Patrick Mahomes, by the way. The knock on him was raw, and he took almost his whole first year before he exploded in year 2. Lamar had half a season to learn. Then they won 7 out of 8 games and go into the playoffs. Then he took over, I guess, 6 out of 7 games because they were 4 and 5 when he took them over. This year, he learned from his failures, and thus far this season, he has been the best player in the league. Up until 10 days ago, I'd have said it was Russell Wilson, but Russell took a step back this week, even in a win. Lamar continues to be sensational. The first half of the year, he was doing it with a little passing and a lot of running. The last, 4 weeks, 13 touchdowns, 9 yards per attempt, a 140 rating. Yeah, I'm very surprised he is this good this quickly, and I'm surprised he's ever this good. I did not think league MVP was in the purview for him, even though I liked him a lot coming out of Louisville.
There are two people on earth that thought this could happen. That's it. Lamar Jackson and John Harbaugh. And I have to give Harbaugh a lot of credit because he believed in him. When in that playoff game last year against the Chargers,
when everyone
was chanting for Flacco
to come in,
he stuck with him. And he said after that game, he is our quarterback of the future. And this year, of course, he builds the whole offense around him. I am stunned. I'm sorry. I did not think Lamar Jackson could play quarterback like this in the NFL, even close to this. Number one, I was concerned about his passing. And anybody that watched that playoff game I alluded to against the Chargers, there's no way you could have seen this coming. He completed 2 passes for 17 yards in the first half, and that was the only team that saw him twice. So I thought, okay, you get some film on him, because he had success, 6-1 in the regular season last year. But I felt like you get some film on him, you get used to him, you'll be able to stop him. So one, I didn't see this passing ability coming from him, especially in one offseason. And two, when John Harbaugh said this summer, he was asked, is he going to run more than Cam Newton's 139 times, which is Cam's career high? And Harbaugh said, take the over. I'm thinking he won't survive into December because we've never seen a quarterback, and he's small. You know, he may be built, of course, he's a football player, but he's still a small guy.
He's not
half
Cam
the size of Cam Newton.
Right.
Cam Newton, in his 9th year, had really 8 close to full season.
He's now breaking
and he's
down.
broken up.
Yep.
And so I didn't think he would be able to stay upright running the way he has. So I'm shocked. It opens up a whole new world for the NFL because we've seen maybe not a runner as good as Lamar, but there have been plenty of black running quarterbacks who could throw in college football.
And we were told they can't do it. And that if they were so brilliant in college that they forced their way into the NFL, a la Vince Young, a la Mike Vick. And I understand Vick derailed his own career with the off-field stuff before he had the rejuvenation in Philly. But those guys were told, okay, what you did in college, you cannot do it here. You run as a last resort. You are going to play a pro-style offense, which would be just as illogical as taking Matt Stafford when he was coming out of Georgia as just a pro-style drop back passer and saying, you know what, where you were drafted, you got to run the read option. We had been told for so long by people who are supposed to be the experts, this won't work. And then in Baltimore, I'm going to add another name who believed in him, Ozzie Newsome. You had Ozzie Newsome, a Hall of Fame player and a Hall of Fame front office guy with his final first-round pick ever trade up to get Lamar. And by the way, they believed in him, but they passed on him a number of times in that draft because they traded back a few times. So they didn't think he'd be this good this quickly, or they just had a really good inclination no one else was going to take him. But what they did was once they took him, they then said, we are going to go all in on this moment. Right. We're not going to worry about 5 years from now and the durability. We are also going to embrace the numbers and information. They bring in the kid from Yale who helps them decide in-game fourth-down decisions when you have the most valuable fourth-down weapon in football in Lamar. You elevate Greg Roman, who did what he did with Colin Kaepernick. You bring in Mark Ingram because you say we're going to be a smash-mouth running football team. You emphasize the tight ends because you need people who are going to be able to block and pass catch. And they simply said what I, to this day, and I know Vince had other issues, I think Vince Young's one of the saddest missed opportunities in league history because I think he could have been this. He's not the dynamic athlete
not
Lamar
quite
was.
This.
Well, a different version. I think a guy who could have absolutely taken the league by storm if you would have simply said, we saw you do it at Texas. We saw you do it against USC. It's similar to what the Texans, and I criticize the Texans, but they've done this with Deshaun. They said, what made you great at Clemson? You did it against Alabama. Why can't you do it in the NFL? And because those guys are having success, you're going to see more guys that look like Lamar. We're no longer going to accept, oh, well, it won't work.
Right.
Tell me why it won't work. Because in the past, the maxim had just been, it won't work, you got to trust us. Well, I don't trust you anymore because I'm seeing it work with Lamar, even if it's not a 10-year plan.
Right.
If it's just a 3-year plan, what if they win the damn Super Bowl this year?
To run this much, you may have to have blazing speed because I think with some guys in the past, it may be Vince Young, it hasn't worked. And I'll give you, he didn't get the full opportunity to just be himself.
Yep.
But the